where Koroisau puts it in the air. 4 chasers. Riley is there. Laurie also there. It came off Bostock. Back to Uto Ikamanu. It'll be 6-4 for the Tigers. They don't need 6 more. Last play. Comes back to base. Shows it. It's going to Koroisau. Now through the middle. Blore makes an incision. He gives it to Kapoa. He'll reach out. The Tigers are in again.
Dolphins defence coming across. They've just turned him back on the inside. Beats Jennings. Beautiful little pass back on the inside. And Kapoa, enormous strength to step out of that tackle and get himself to the goal line.
Head fake goes to Dane Laurie. Cut out ball into space. Riley comes to Fuller. Taken down by O'Sullivan. A chance to score on the boot. Now Safer. Trap ball. He reaches out. The Tigers are back in front. What a catch and an effort by Alex Safer. Here's Clement now trying to replicate what Safer did. Set restart here for West. Simpkin from dummy half. He'll reach out. A big gap on the outside there of Jared Wallace. Simpkin follows Safer's lead. Koroisau goes short. A real variation, and it was the Tigers. Tupou, he was tackled. Had to be a penalty to West. Koroisau's produced some tricks today. That was a beauty. Pythagoras still rooms. Here is Koroisau. Does he have the legs? Off the crossbar. He kicked it. At full time here at CommBank Stadium. Api Koroisau's the hero. His goal gets the Tigers home. They've taken down the Dolphins 24-23.
Welcome in, West Tigers fans, to another episode of the WestsLife podcast. I am your host, Josh Barnett, and we are sponsored by Holman Barnes Group, which includes West Ashfield Leagues, the best place to watch the games this weekend when we take on, who we got next week? The Roosters on Saturday, and the girls have the Chooks as well. It's a doubleheader, isn't it? Which we'll preview on Wednesday night, but reviewing a win tonight. Finally reviewing a win. How good. Lots of happy things to say on the show tonight, and one little not so happy thing that we've got to address first up, but I'll go to the boys first after I just give our socials a plug at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and there you'll find the Linktree link to everything we do, be it our YouTube channel. Shouts to the what have we got? Well over half a century of you watching live right now, and the link to the patreon.com/WestsLife, where you can sign up, take part, and join in the Discord and hear from the three of us. It's firing off, soccer talk, obviously all over the weekend with the there's a soccer channel in there if you like to watch the round ball game and all sorts of other discussions beyond footy. So shouts to everyone in the Discord as well. And shouts to Mr. Thompson. How are you on this Monday evening following that win? How good to see a win finally.
Yeah, g'day Josh, g'day Rob, g'day listeners. Yeah, it was so good to be there for the doubleheader. An unfortunate loss first up, and then a spectacular win with a spectacular kick after that. I had a pretty tough week last week, as most people who follow me on Twitter know. But I had a very good end to the week. Obviously, I got to go to the women's members, the NRLW members open training session on Friday night. Had a blast there. The girls were very welcome and inclusive. And then, yeah, a good day at the footy overall on Saturday.
And Mr. Bashara, he is back. He wasn't planning on it, but yeah, Mr. Bashara come back. It was a win. Well, firstly, you're here because you're celebrating a win as well. You couldn't really miss this one. And everyone's missed. Look at all the comments. Everyone, how happy they are to see and hear you again on the show.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Aaron. Good evening, everyone. Aaron, big shout out to your dad, mate. Hope he's doing well in recovery if he's listening.
Thanks, Rob.
And And just a quick one, guys, before I forget, because I know I will forget, to one of our favourites from the WestsLife podcast, Gussie Harris, 40th birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, mate.
Oh, Gussie.
Hope you have a
Yeah,
fantastic
wish
day.
I'd known that. I would have uploaded a song or something.
Well, by the time people are listening to it, it might be his birthday today. I'm not sure, but his birthday's Tuesday. So happy birthday,
On you,
Gussie.
Gussie. 40.
Yeah,
Man,
look,
he doesn't
I'm
look
here
at
by
age over 39.
I'm here by popular demand. I wasn't going to do. I was going to do one more podcast, as you know, guys, later on when we did a review, but it seems like the club misses me and they needed me to come back on tonight, especially our chairman. So I'm here in person, ready and rocking to go, and to celebrate a win as we do once every 3 months, which is what we've been conditioned to.
We will do that in just a moment. But firstly, we will address it straight off the top of the show. So for those who tuned in on last Wednesday's show, August 16, Rob, the three of us, we discussed a story that that Rob told about Mr. Lee Hagipantelis offering Mitchell Moses to drive him in his Ferrari to training every day if he signed with the West Tigers. We'd like to withdraw those comments and apologise to Mr. Hagipantelis for any imputations, hurt, or embarrassment that we may have caused. When we did discuss this, I know that I made a joke saying, did Lee offer Chubba Chups to Moses, insinuating, look, I said it insinuating that Mitchell Moses, it was like a child offering a lift to someone who is an adult. I was kind of insinuating that he's like a child and didn't take too kindly to that. So apologies from myself personally on that one. And Rob, I know you want to say a few words as well.
Yeah, I've got to be careful how I say this, Josh. How do I say this? I just don't want to put my foot totally in my mouth here. So, for the sake of you and Aaron and the podcast, I'll retract the Mitchell Moses stuff because I believe Lee Hagipantelis is saying that he didn't say that. As for everything I say on this podcast and everything I say on my social media page, they are my opinions. I'm entitled to my opinions. I'm protected by my opinions. I have not called Lee a mass murderer, a rapist, or anything of any such nature. I have continuously bagged him for this club, which under his tenure has gone from 9th to 11th to 13th to 16th and last and to 17th and last. I'm entitled to my opinions. Everyone out there who listens can make up their own opinions. They seem to like our pod and listen to our pod quite a bit, which ironically I left and I was going to do one more show at the end of the year. But thanks to this threat of legal action, I'm back and I'm not leaving. So I'm going to continue on the course of giving it to this club because we are a club not deserving of being in 17th place. I'm not scared of any legal action. If Lee feels like he needs to take legal action, by all means, go ahead and take legal action. We saw how your legal action turned out with the Cowboys game, and you had 5 perfectly good pieces of evidence to win that battle, but you gave up on that after a week. I have done nothing wrong. Okay, if you actually want to go after me for defamation, you're welcome to go after me. I'm all ears. Happy to wear the cost, but eventually you'll end up wearing the cost, Lee. You continually embarrass yourself, and instead of putting this out, you actually owe us an apology for where this club stands right now. I demand an apology, okay? You have called me a fan, a non-paying member. I've got in text you calling me a fan and that if you're not paying the club, your opinion isn't entitled. You seem to change that opinion quite a lot. I hope you're listening tonight. I welcome any challenge of legal action because you are full of shit, okay? And as for Josh and Aaron, they do not have anything to do with my comments. I stand by my comments. They're my opinions. You are a disgrace to the West Tigers and you continually anchor us to the bottom of the ladder. I'm happy with that now. Thank you.
In saying all that, obviously, in terms of, and this goes for Justin Pascoe, which we've also had plenty of run-ins and a rivalry, so to speak, with them. We don't think they're bad people. Like we,
Of course not.
I know they took
They're
took
just
offense,
hopeless
like,
at their job, mate. That's what they are. That's my opinion.
and we're
Do I
entitled
have
to
to
say
put my
that.
opinion after everything now? My opinion, my opinion, my opinion. What
Hmm.
comes out of my mouth is my opinion, okay? If Lee doesn't like it, tough luck. It's simple as that. Defamation. What sort of lawyer is that? What sort of lawyer is that? Come and lawyer me, mate. Idiot.
I'm just to make sure that I'm just he obviously didn't like referring to. I said that that it was a creepy thing to do. He obviously don't actually think he's creepy. What I'm trying to say here, we don't think he's a bad person or a creep or anything. We don't think he's a bad person. We just, like you said, Rob, they're not good. Him and Justin are not doing a good job. I've met Justin previously. I think he's a really nice bloke, and I think most people that have met him do think that. We just think that they're not doing a good job, and we've said that. I mean, if they were going to sue us for defamation for that opinion, they would have done it.
Well, mate, they'd be suing James
a lot
Super for
sooner.
that, Josh. They'd be suing
Yeah.
James Super for that. I mean, he's bagged him out last week on 360. I've never said Justin Pascoe is a bad person. I've said these blokes, both of them and the board, have tried their hardest and they can't get results. That's what I've continually said. I said they're incapable. I sent Lee a text today, and my words to Lee today in part were, you're trying so hard, you're spinning your wheels in mud, okay? But they can't get it done, mate. And instead of focusing on 3 West Tiger supporters, and you blokes are soul of the earth blokes. Like, I'm a prick, okay? I'm a prick like him, okay? I don't care. I'm happy to fucking fight, mate. I'm a fucking tiger, okay? I'm happy to fight. But you two blokes do not deserve this crap. And I'm really annoyed for you blokes. For me, like, I showed it to a lawyer. My lawyer just laughed. My lawyer absolutely laughed. Said, you got no grounds to stand on whatsoever. You conveyed a story. Yeah, like if someone's got a bit of a weird sort of way of thinking, you could twist the chuppa chup thing or the creepy thing differently. But honestly, we've had our first win in 11 weeks, and we've got to talk about this moron. Seriously. Am I allowed to call him a moron? Is that defamatory? That's my opinion. I think he's a moron. He probably thinks I'm an idiot. He's entitled to that opinion too. Let's move on to the good stuff, guys. We got to win. Thank fuck we got to win.
Yeah, that's why we are here too. So let's just move on to happier things. And one man who was happy was Benji Marshall, his first official coaching gig. So how good that doing the press conference now, with all respect to Sheensy, is now the voice of Benji Marshall. So let's, where should we start? Let's go with Benji talking about the win.
It's not about me, Lara, to be honest. This next 3 weeks or 2 weeks coming after this is about us finishing off as a club, how we want to finish. And I thought today, we just as a club, we needed it. The result. We've been there or about for a few weeks now, but we just couldn't get over the line. So to have the skipper here step up from the sideline, 30 out, and knock it over with a bit of drama, and get the result, we needed it.
How was the heart rate through that ending?
Oh yeah, it was definitely up there. I had Robbie Farah screaming in one ear and David Ferner screaming in the other ear. I just couldn't hack it, but it was a crazy finish, and just to see the boys get reward for effort, and being amongst it this year with only 3 wins, we needed it.
Do you think it was the right decision?
How good is it hearing the King's voice and knowing that he's fully? I mean, he's pretty much. It's not really a secret that he's been pretty much in charge most of the year, but I think it makes it even more special that it's Benji's first official crack.
Yeah, for sure. I said in the Discord after listening to the presser yesterday that I think Benji handled it spectacularly for his first post-game press conference. Had a lot of good things to say. You could tell he was clearly very excited. Obviously, he maintains he's still an assistant coach for the time being, and Sheensy's still the head coach for the rest of the year. But it is good to give him the experience in the I guess the coach's box and the hot seat of the before and after press conferences as well. He knows what he's talking about. He's going to continue to be a shining light for the club, I believe. He took media's questions well, and yeah, I was just happy to see him smiling.
Let's talk about Benji's. Well, not talk about. Well, let's listen to Benji talking about the new style of play, and I'll get your opinion on those, Roberto.
Yeah, and we're also building a style, and I thought we played to it most of today, that we want to take into the future. And I've got to give this bloke next to me a lot of credit with what he's brought to our club. Week in, week out, he sets the example at training, he sets the example on the field, and that's why he's the skipper, so he's been outstanding for us.
Everyone always now.
But we've spoken as a group about a few things we want to try and finish the season off with, and when you are fighting at the bottom of the table, it's easy to go and just throw the ball around and have no cares, but we want to do it a little bit different and play a little bit tougher and try and complete high and play a style that in the big moments that's going to hold up. And I thought the last 5 or 6 weeks we've done that, and today we got reward for that.
Rob, did you notice anything different between the style of play that the team? I mean, was it just a matter of we actually got the result today?
I think it was more the result. I think
today,
most of the structure looked pretty similar to me. It was pretty much, rucking it up for 4 rucks, try and, get the ball out the back line on the second last tackle and put a kick in. Have to agree with, what he said about Api. Api's just, I've beat on about it too much now. He's everything. He's the heart and soul of this club. And he's the one that I really pin my faith in. And, God bless him. He's just an absolute gem.
As anything to you at the game live, as was side, how do you think the style of play from the boys was under Benji's watch?
Yeah, I didn't notice too much different. I think really the only difference was seeing how Api played the 7 role as opposed to the 9 role, and how we went obviously with Jakey Simpkin at hooker for basically the whole game until he got taken off HIA with 8 minutes or so to go. And I really enjoyed what Api bought. The kick for our first try was, I thought, a really good kick. In the past, we don't really follow up those really good kicks with a really good chase, and to have the boys there putting the pressure on the Dolphins boys paid off, I think, and that was probably the most impressive thing to me. Just how Api led the team around, how the team played off the back of him. And it got me thinking, obviously, we'll get to the news a bit later, I assume, but obviously with some new signings in the halves, and Api leading the team around with the back, or with the forwards we've got, that the halves can play off, and with maybe a little bit more pace in the backs, I think there's every chance we might be able to be a bit more competitive next year.
100%. Here's Benji talking about that man, Api Koroisau.
Is to be successful.
Well, there's a reason why he's the captain, and his influence on the side, whether he knows it or not, is enormous. And I think if you watch all our games this year, he's setting the tone in the effort areas, line speed, kick chases, kick pressures, and just doing his job. And he's come from a system that's used to winning a lot of games. So he knows what it takes to win, and he's bringing some of those habits to us. And it's up to the rest of us to get, and coaches to get those players on the same page as him to get to that level.
Rob, how good was Api Koroisau? Kick aside, he can do it all, but man, what a player. Not even playing his best position, and he just led the team beautifully.
He's going above and beyond what he did at Penrith, guys. He didn't have to do as much as he does now at Penrith. And as I've said previously, he's gone into the bottom of that bag of tricks. And some of the things he did the other day, as Aaron pointed out with his kicking, in particular, that kickoff that led to the penalty, the deception there, looking like he was going to go deep and then hook it around to the left, perfectly for Tupu to catch it. He is just trying his hardest, and I'm actually quite embarrassed with myself. I question him being captain, given the comments that he said about the Tigers after he won the grand final with Penrith a couple of days later. And wasn't it great to see that goal kick go over, especially when you consider when we played Parramatta up there, if you're literally on the other side of the field in the same spot, kicking the other way, he slipped over trying to kick a penalty goal. So, or a conversion. So I know we won the game by a point, but I feel like we won the game by an inch because it was literally that close. I mean, the luck we've had this year, you just expect that ball to hit the crossbar and come back into the field of play, not go over. So I was just really happy with that. And I don't know, you guys are at the game, so you guys wouldn't have noticed this, but honestly, guys, if you see how the fans were at full time and like the passion and the screaming, and I was like, yeah, it just honestly, it moved me. It was so beautiful.
Oh, it was great to be amongst it. I was sitting, I'll talk about it in a sec, but I was sitting amongst the players' families as well, and it was just unbelievable. Yeah, the crowd, it was only 9,000, and that, I think that was being a little bit kind with the numbers. I mean, yeah, I mean, if it had been at Leichhardt or Campbelltown, it would have been truly rocking. But yeah, our last home game there, I guess. Last clip from Benji. Here he is talking about Brooksy, who ended up not playing, but it would have been his last home game, and they sent him out with a gift of a barbecue.
Yeah, I just in front of the team just mentioned Brooksy again about, you know, he cops quite a fair bit of criticism, you know, and as a halfback, that's part of the territory. I understand that, but what he has given to the club is over 200 games of his blood, sweat, and tears. And I think everyone will agree, at times when other people left, he showed loyalty and stayed. And it wasn't always for more money, but, you know, he'll be a West Tiger forever. But I think talking about his move, you know, and you can see in his body language, it's going to be a good thing for him, and he's excited about it. And we can only wish him the best because he's given us everything.
Benj, will he get on the field again this year? Will he get an on-field farewell? Or
highly unlikely.
Yeah.
But if he's ready, we'll put him out there.
So that's interesting from Benji there. As Luke Brooks seems like he's done at the West Tigers. So not only his last home game at last week, I guess the game in New Zealand was his last game for the West Tigers for good.
Yeah, it seems like that calf is proving a bit more troublesome for him, which is a bit of a shame, really, because it's been hampering him for at least a couple of years now, I think. And if it means if it causes him to not get any more games, then that's going to be extremely disappointing. Hopefully, for his sake, he doesn't have too much of an injury interrupted time at Manly, because I think he's there for 4 years, and he's 29 at the moment. So he'll be pushing the back end of the career by the time that deal's over. So it's a bit of a shame that he won't play for us anymore. But yeah, I wish him all the best.
Yeah, good on you, Brooksy. Go well at Manly. Don't. Yeah, except when you play.
Just not when you play us.
What are the odds that we play Manly round 1 next year?
50-50.
It'll
Get it out of the way early.
It'll happen.
It happened with Robbie when he went to South. We played South round 1. Robbie
and it happened with Teddy with the Roosters too.
It did, yes.
No. I think that might have been round 2, wasn't it, or round 3?
No, that was the Lolohea. The Lolohea.
Was it round 1?
Game winner.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll do it on purpose.
Round 2.
We're definitely playing Manly round 1. I book it. Hopefully at Leichhardt.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Righto. Yeah, that does it for the presser. I've still got the Women's World Cup graphics up. I haven't got.
You've been a busy boy, mate.
I have been busy this afternoon with everything. So I'll come back to the West Ashfield ad, and we'll talk about Aidan Sezer. He signed officially announced by the club today. The club was very busy today, Rob, sending out announcements and emails, it seems. So, but what are your thoughts on the Aidan Sezer signing?
Look, we were desperate. We backed ourselves into a corner, as I've said before, with Jackson Hastings. Probably one of the dumbest decisions we've ever made. And all we're getting is a much older version of Jackson Hastings, and who's been out of the NRL. It'll be 5 years by the time he plays next year. Look, I don't know how it's going to work, guys. We've got Sezer, we've got Sullivan, we've got other. I mean, we'll look at any halfback at the moment, but he's meant to be a steadying influence. I know he's got a good kicking game. I don't think he'd be very mobile at 34 years of age. But look, if Benji wants him, Benji got who he wanted. We're just got to go with that now. But yeah, I think the choices were quite limited, and I haven't seen any of him playing in England recently. So I've got no idea how he's going over there.
Az, what are your thoughts?
I don't think we're in a position to really complain too much about who we sign, especially in the halves, considering we have Adam Dewey is our only signed half. Well, prior to this last week, Adam Dewey was our only signed half for next year. Sezer, I think he's going to bring a lot of experience to the club. He was obviously a part of the grand final losing team along with John Bateman. So they've got hopefully a connection there that we can use. He'll bring experience with a good kicking game. I think that can't be understated, considering that's, I think, probably been people's biggest criticism of Brooks is he hasn't been choosing the right kicks at the right time. So having Sezer there, he'll also provide a bit of a learning tool for Sullivan and the Fainu brothers as well. So I just hope it goes well. It's only a 1-year deal from what I can see. I thought I originally heard there was something about a second-year option for club or player or something along those lines, but nothing of that sort's been mentioned. So for now, it's a 1-year deal. I think it's basically like a stopgap solution until we get a bit more experience in our youngsters that we have coming through.
Right, I just realised West Ashfield, they haven't sent me an ad for this week, so I'll just ad lib one for them to our beloved West Ashfield League. So the game, we're playing the Roosters at 5:30. Is it a 5:30 game this week?
Yep, 5:30.
And what time the girls on as?
3:10 or something along those lines.
So get along to West Ashfield to watch those games. Will there be? I'm not too sure what they'll have to offer. Maybe they will. Look, I don't want to get in more trouble in this episode, but maybe they will do some pizza deals or something. We've been busy today as well, but look, put them on Rob Bashara's tab. Tell them, let's go to the bar, order a pizza, and say, "Can you put this on Mr. Rob Bashara's tab?"
No problem.
Rob will pick it up on Sunday afternoon. But in all seriousness, we love West Ashfield and Holman Barnes Group. HolmanBarnesGroup.com.au. Holman Barnes Group, bringing people together. I mean, we truly do appreciate their support. Shouts to Simon and his wonderful team there over at Ashfield. We do truly love them dearly. Righto, speaking of someone I love dearly, Sean Blore, the man himself. So I was like I was going to say a kid in the candy store. I was actually going to say it.
You're allowed to say that, mate.
I know, but it's just I didn't even think of it. But look, the piece of eye candy you see on the screen if you're actually watching it. So Kevin Blore, Sean's dad, reached out to me last week and wanted to thank me for all the support that I give Sean on the show. Obviously, we express our love a lot for Sean and how much we really want West Tigers to re-sign him, extend his contract and that sort of thing. Kevin was kind enough to invite me to come sit with the family on Saturday. And so shouts to Ida, his mum, little sister Jessie, and Bianca, his girlfriend, and all his friends and family. We had Puppy's family behind us as well, so it was pretty cool. Of the hundreds of games I've ever seen, I've never actually sat where the families to kind of see how families react. And it's funny when like the big screen, they're all announced one by one. You can kind of hear the families going one by one, kind of cheering for their family members. But it was just awesome to sit. Kevin Blore was just absolute salt of the earth, absolute legend. Had a great chat and time with him, sitting there watching the girls and the guys game, obviously, as well. And then Sean came up into the stands to look. I'd say it was to come see his family, but it was also I happened to be there as well, and he handed me a captain's run jersey of his that he'd signed for me to say thank you for the support. So so a big thank you again to Kevin and the Blore family for having me. I'm sorry I got a bit passionate towards the end of that game. Look, the family members don't jump up and fist pump and yell quite like I do, and I couldn't really help myself. So I'm sorry if I was a little bit embarrassing, but I hope they do invite me back again. Hopefully, in the future, I'm sure they will.
Josh,
But,
it only happens 4 times a year, mate. You're entitled to do that.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, in all seriousness, like Sean became a favourite of mine early when he first started with the Tigers. Because we all remember the Nathan Brown game. I think he became a fan favourite, not just me, to a lot of people there as well. But it's because he's such a good human as well, and to kind of see exactly why that is, why he's such a great human. It's pretty obvious that he's got a great family and great network. So yeah, footy players sometimes get a bad rap, but yeah, the Blore family, absolute legends. So should I change my name to Josh Blore-net by
That's the
Deep
best.
Pod Boys?
That is the absolute best. You're stuck with that now, mate. You're not getting away
Josh
from
Blore-net.
that. Josh Blore-net. That's it. I hope Bianca's not jealous of you.
Maybe. Look, he took his shirt off for me, right in front of me. Took his jersey off. Sorry, Bianca. Another story. I had this sitting. It was just something that was in the paper. Buzz Rothfield. I don't know if anyone saw in the paper on Sunday, to go from someone that we truly love in the playing group to the story that dropped on Sunday, how the West Tigers CEO, Justin Pascoe, has full support of the board. The story by Buzz on Sunday. Rob, what a beautiful thing to read on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, normally, as we all know, having the full support of the board means that you are a doomed man. You're on the way out. But knowing our beloved West Tigers management, mate, he's probably genuinely got the full support of the board. So I don't know where it's going to go, guys. It's I'm overseeing these blokes in the paper. I don't know a chairman, who gets on TV and radio as much as our chairman does, and every person knows who Pascoe is, just like they used to know who Peter Doust was at St George. Ouse Doust. Now we've got Pascoe Fiasco. I'm just sick of seeing him, guys. I just want to enjoy the footy team, and all I want right now is Benji to get the full support of the board and give him the tools needed to make our football team better. And I don't want Benji to be a scapegoat next year. That's my biggest concern right now.
That's enough. Let's move on. So a little one from the Carianis, David Riccio in News Corp, Telegraph, News Corp, whatever. Ryan Carr emerging as a surprise target for the coaching staff. So I believe he's caretaker of the Dragons at the moment. Is that
correct?
Right? Yeah. Have you got any thoughts on this one?
I honestly don't know too much about him, like his past history as a coach or anything like that. So I don't really have too much to say. But if there's someone that Benji wants to be his, I guess, mentor or assistant who will help him on the right track, then I'd say leave it a bit more in Benji's hands. But if he believes in like Ryan Carr or whoever else, John Morris has been thrown around again, then I'd say go for it. If the club and Benji thinks they'll be an asset, then why not?
Rob, you got any opinion on this?
Look, I don't know much about him. I watch all the NRL games, as most of us do. I was really impressed with St George against Melbourne on the weekend. They actually look like a real football team, except for that left winger who's bloody awful. But they actually had a red-hot crack. Looked good. They played enterprising football. I don't know what sort of coach he's like. As I've said previously, Benji's, I think, got our players running through brick walls. And as he said in that presser, which he played, Josh, it's very hard for players to lift players when there's nothing to play for. And basically our guys have nothing to play for. Not only don't they have anything to play for, like, you got a guy like Dane Laurie, putting a shot on someone and he's leaving the club. You know what I mean? Putting their body on the line to save a potential long-range break. So, look, what you said there, Aaron, about John Morris, with the risk of getting egg on my face again, we are going after him wholeheartedly. It's just a matter of whether he agrees or not, but Benji wants him at the club. So I believe we're going after him. And in terms of an admin role, I think he wants Mark O'Neill back as well. So that's what I've been told. Whether that comes to fruition or not, I'm not sure. I really hope John Morris does come. He got Cronulla to the semi-finals.
Yeah, I thought he
feel
did good job.
I thought he's a good X's and O's coach. I know he had an aging pack when he was there, but he had a really young back line. So I rate him. He's played with Benji before. He's worked with Benji. So I'm sure they'll get along well. As long as he's not perceived to be coming to the club in a way that where he's going to take over, if they want to knife Benji in the back. So I just hope, I just want an assurance from the club that Benji's there, going to see out the rest of his contract. But like, death, taxes, and putting your foot in the mouth, you know what happens with the statements they say. So it's pretty hard to trust them.
One thing, just to go back, the whole night's not going to be about Sean Blore, I promise, but a little tidbit from when he came into the stands and took his shirt off, but he had like hundreds of kids coming up to him getting autographs and taking photos and stuff, and he was so good. Like, didn't say, not that he would, but he took so many photos and signed so many autographs. Just wanted to have a chat with his dad. But I mean, he came into the crowd. I guess he kind of expected it, but he was just so good with all these kids. And anyway, a cop came up to him, and he goes, "Oh, Dream, there's a kid over here." He says like the kid was lost or something. He really wants to get a photo with you. And like Sean, I don't even know if Sean realized that he called him Dream, but I just thought that was pretty funny that the cop thought he was Dream Buller as well. But but
that's pretty good considering he had a pretty heavy flu, I believe, too. So
yes, that's another thing too. He admitted he thought he played pretty average because he'd been battling illness. Yeah, a few days before the game. That's why I assume why he didn't come back on as well. He didn't have huge minutes, so he was actually the Michael Jordan flu game, so to speak. So he likes his basketball as well. So let's talk about the game itself. So a 24-23. What would that have paid and pick the score? 24-23.
A fortune.
4 tries apiece. Fanua Pole shouts to kind of noon in our Discord, the official Fanua Pole fanatic. He messaged on our Rob Stradamus channel. He said Fanua Pole is 21-1 for first try scorer. I don't know if anyone listened, but Noon's obviously had a very, very good Saturday night because he had a tenner on that, I believe. So shouts to him and Fanua Pole. That was a ripper of a try as well. Kepa Owa was a good try as well. Kepa Owa. We'll talk about players individually later in the player ratings, I guess. But big Alex Seyfarth barging over and Jakey Simpkin. 3 pretty. Look, you could say 4, like four guys scoring really that are kind of understated and not overly appreciated, as opposed to, although Nofaluma was probably robbed of maybe 2 tries. Yeah, unlucky with young Tristan Riley not finding aid, putting it past and went about 4 meters forward into the stands the first half, and then the second half just not seeing him or whatever. That was literally right in front of us, that one where he just didn't throw the pass, and Noffa.
It worked out better anyway because Seyfarth.
Seyfarth scored. Yes, Seyfarth, and
then nearly having his head taken off too, Noffa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, great game. Anything to add before we get into the stats, Az?
I was just really happy to see how well the team played together. We still got a little bit shafted by the referee. He was trying his darndest to at least keep the Dolphins in the game. We weren't helping that cause ourselves with a lot of silly drop balls. And the thing that was, I guess, frustrating me during the game was the fact that we'd score a brilliant try and then not long later let in a really soft one. Like, you see the difference in time between our first try and their first try was literally 4 minutes. So we had that lead for 4 minutes before we let the Dolphins back into the game with their first try. And it was a bit frustrating in that regard, but the way the team hung in there, I think, is a credit to them, because a lot of the time that doesn't happen. We just don't get that, because they'll drop their heads when the bad calls go against them. But I think under Benji, with Api as captain, I think that's going to change.
A few stats: 51% possession for the Dolphins, so pretty much even across the game there. Completion rate 81% for us, so 30 out of 37, not too bad there. Only 71% for the Dolphins, 28 out of 39. They were. If we didn't win this one, I would have been very, very disappointed, because the Dolphins kind of played, like not a very good football side. Running meters pretty much even. Post contact meters, we got an extra 100-ish there. Line breaks 6-4. Tackle breaks 47 for us, only 29 for the Finns. Anything else as it kind of offloads 26-6. That's a big one. Roberto throwing the ball, getting the ball off, playing that second phase footy.
Yeah, look, I thought our second half was really good, and we looked like we were potentially going to run away with the game. We had, a bigger lead than 6 points. We had a 2-score lead, and I just feel like our edges in defence, it looked like every time the Dolphins were going to shift the ball that, something was going to happen. And that's still a bit of a worry. So we definitely need to work on the defence out wide. But look, I actually really enjoyed the second half. Couple of silly errors, as Aaron pointed out, especially that Shepherd that led to the match tying penalty at the time. But look, all in all, look, it's hard to get motivated at the end of the year, as we said earlier, and the boys stuck it out. I'm just happy they got the win, because there's been a lot of games, like the Canberra game at Campbelltown earlier in the year, where we get behind and we don't know how to win it back. And the fact that we overcame that adversity, and then there was still a good 2.5, 3 minutes left after Api kicked that goal. So we finished the game out really well. And, lucky they probably threw a forward pass, a ball that was a bit marginal. And we got away, we got a scrum out of that, and we closed the game out. So just good that the boys closed the game out, because our last 5 minutes of games, whether it be in first half or second half, we normally concede points, and it was just good that they finished it off.
Missed tackles 47 for the Dolphins, 29 for the Tigers, and 37 ineffective tackles to 13 for the Tigers. Our defense, for the most part, has looked pretty okay.
Yeah, it was a lot better than normal. We normally miss around 40 tackles or thereabout, 40 to 50 tackles. I think in the loss to the Cowboys, we missed more than 50. So that was a nice improvement to see. The team worked hard for each other in defense, and in attack, we just had a few defensive lapses where a player jumped out of the line or gave the Dolphins a sniff, and they found a way through. And a bit unfortunate, and the way they they got around us a couple times as well. So it's good to see there are some improvements there, but there's going to need to be a lot more improvements next year if we're going to concede less points and be more competitive as a football team.
Like I said, we'll go player by player in the player ratings soon, but some of the top performers. So top tackles, Twally, 44 tackles, none missed. And I think this was in 50 minutes or something, if you can check that for me. Jakey Simpkin also had 44 without a single miss as well. Jakey Simpkin, he had a ripper of a game. Johnny Bateman, 39 with only 2 missed, and Pupley had 39 and 4 missed. Other leaders, Kepa Oa, leader in tackle breaks with 8, and leader in line breaks with 2. Alex Twal, most in run. I thought Twally was really good. He got the start in this game. I thought he was one of his best games this season. He ran the ball really well, 155 metres for Twally, and post-contact was Noffa with 63.
54 minutes for Twal.
Yeah, so 44 tackles without missing one. That's almost a tackle a minute without missing. That's insane.
The Great Wall of Twal is back.
table-wise, not that it really matters that much, but 2 points behind the Dragons. Is it possible? Can we overtake the Dragons?
Why couldn't the Storm do us a favour and beat the Dragons by 50? That
So
would have helped out a lot.
You're lucky they won in the end, Aaron.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
57 points to make up, or win twice and Dragons lose twice.
Yeah,
I guess
pretty much. So it's possible, but we're getting close to Lloyd Christmas territory for this one.
Lloyd,
Dumb and Dumber.
yeah, I know who. Why is it Lloyd Christmas?
So you're telling me there's a chance, that line?
Oh, right. Yep. Why'd I miss that? I feel ashamed missing that one.
I thought you'd get that, Josh. I thought you'd get
that. One group that doesn't miss is Mobile Corp. So they support local businesses by managing their IT, their networks, and their mobile devices. If you're a local business owner looking for a partner who will take away the hassle of dealing with IT issues, make sure you have cybersecurity in place, handle all your mobile device needs, then Mobile Corp can help. Mobile Corp is a family-run business and a long-time supporter of the West Tigers. Reach out to our mate Stephen and the team at Mobile Corp. Check them out at mobilecorp.com.au. That's mobile, corp.com.au. Shouts to Shane Walker as well. We'll try and get him on the show before the year's out again. New South Wales Cup, not a lot of defense on Lidcombe on Sunday Oval, 56-20 to the Newtown Jets. The Jets scoring 11 tries to our 4. I didn't see this one. I don't think it was streamed either, so don't know too much about this one. But yeah, they're down in 11th and kind of hoping for the season to end, I guess, in the New South Wales Cup. So not really much to add there in the Jersey. The Jersey Flag, they are coming last. They lost 34-10 to the Cronulla Sharks at Lidcombe as well. So yeah, they've dropped to the bottom of the table. So it might be wooden spoon there. They're tied on points with the Knights. So, and they're playing the top of the table Roosters next week. So not looking good for.
And I believe that's the last game.
Oh, they finish a week. Oh, that's right. Because Cup, obviously, their grand final is the week before, and then they do the championship thing on grand final day. So the women's, as man, heartbreaking again. I couldn't believe it. Watching the girls, they look so good in the first half, and then again a final minute try to lose the game.
Yeah, they managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in this one. They were doing really, really well for the first, I'd say, about 50 minutes of the game. We let the Dragons back into it with a couple of tries there, or with a try around that point, and then we kind of hung on really well from there. We didn't really offer too much more in attack. Didn't put up fire too many shots at that point, and then a few, I guess, silly decisions that were made in the back end there. Attempting a strip in a 2-on-1 situation was probably the nail in the coffin, because the Dragons scored a try not long later, and then scored that try in the final minute, which was really, really disheartening. They fought hard. We had a player in the sin bin. They had so much defending to do, and they didn't concede a try for, I think it was 8 minutes of that sin bin period. So their resilience was really impressive. They're doing the club proud. Obviously, there's still going to be some growing pains there for the first year squad. But they are doing us proud, and I will say that they are.
Look, if they upset the Roosters, they can get back in the top 4. Hopefully this weekend, the Roosters are top of the table, though. So it'll be a tough battle. Plenty of superstars in that side, but yeah, fingers crossed they can do that. Yeah, I felt like the sin bin, while you said they hung on, as they just seemed to, it wore them out as well. I feel like they just ran out of steam, and the Dragons just came home with a wet sail, as they say. I have no idea what that actually means. I don't know. Why does a wet sail? Rob, you're old enough to remember when sailing was popular. Why is a wet sail better than a dry sail?
I would assume it makes the boat go faster, but I know nothing about sailing.
Yeah, I don't know why a wet sail makes a boat go faster. Someone in the comments, let us know.
I will say one thing about the girls, though. Obviously, we're 2 wins and 3 losses. Our 2 wins have been by margins of 28 and 10, and our 3 losses have been by margins of 6, 4, and 4, I believe. So they're hanging in there. They're hanging tough. The one thing about this game, I'd be curious to see what the possession stat was at halftime compared to what the possession stat was at full time, because it seemed like in the second half they just had so much defending to do, especially during that sin bin period. The Dragons girls were making too many meters way too easily, and it kind of just got out of hand for them. They ran out of juice in the back end, and yeah, the Dragons just limped over the top of them.
Anything to add on the girls, Rob, before we do the player ratings?
Yeah, look, pretty much agree with most of what Aaron said there. Definitely, I think we should have been out of reach at halftime. I thought we totally dominated that first half, and that lead wasn't big enough considering all the ball we had. I'd give St George more credit for what they did in the second half as opposed to us. It's just, isn't it like a sick coincidence that a simple error off a kick with 3 minutes left cost us a game, and it was the same thing that happened last week. A simple error off a bomb, but it was around the same time as well, because we really defended our asses off. I'm not into all that big wins, close losses stuff, Aaron. We've got a really good team. I mean, I think most games are decided by small margins, so we've just got to be better at winning them. But I think it's just going to take its toll being ahead and giving up leads. It'll become a stigma. So hopefully the girls just stick to what they're doing. I think we're a better team than St George, and we should be probably 4-1 to be fair. So I think that there's plenty of good stuff we're seeing from our girls, and the product's really good. I'm actually really enjoying what we watch, which I couldn't have said that 5 years ago, to be brutally honest with you. We lost you, Josh? I think Josh is frozen there.
Yeah,
he's frozen, Aaron.
He's gone AWOL.
Yeah, have we missed anything about the girls' game? I was going to ask you, how come you mentioned you'd love to know what the possession stat was first half to second half on the NRL app? Like, it's got the women's games there. Don't they put the stats on there as well?
They do, but you don't get to see what the stats were like at halftime. You only get like the full-time stats. So I can go on and have a look and see what the overall possession was, but I don't know, and I won't be able to know what possession was like at halftime, because I just can't see.
Yeah, I think Josh is unfrozen now.
Yeah. Can you hear me, boys? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we got you back, mate.
Just it went all weird. I saw Emmanuel. He explained the wet sail thing. So when canvas sails are porous, so they let air through. So when it reduces the drive of the sails, so basically, if your sail is wet, then it catches more air, I guess. So, so wetting the sails. There you go. You learn something new on the WestsLife podcast tonight. So wetting the sails reduces the porosity and increases the drive temporarily until the sail dries out. There you go. Okay.
And just to finish off what Rob and I were talking about, the Dragons had 56% possession by the end of the game. So they definitely had the bulk of the ball.
Very wet sail.
Half there.
Yeah.
Righto. On to the player ratings.
Look at these numbers, boy. My God.
Yes.
Not used to seeing such good numbers.
Somewhat. Yeah. Do you want to go through the numbers for me?
Yeah, no worries. So
just in case my internet shits itself.
Again. Jareen Buller 7.7, David Nofaluma 6.1, Asu Kepaoa 6.4, Tristan Riley 6.6, Junior Tupou 6.7, Dane Laurie 7.1, Api Koroisau 9.3, Stefano Utoikamanu 7.2, Jake Simpkin 7.6, Alex Twal 7.5, Isaiah Papali'i 7.5, John Bateman 6.9, Fanua Pole 7.8, David Clemmer 6.7, Alex Seyfarth 7.6, Sean Blore 6.7, Justin Matamua 5.4, and inaugurally for Benji 5.5.
Yeah, I think I had Tim Sheen still on the form. I just totally forgot to update.
So
that,
let's just give Benji like an extra 2 points and make it
Yeah, I
7.5.
think if I had actually put Benji, people would have rated it higher. So I don't think really
Certainly.
take that into account. Any of those numbers not fair enough? I think they're pretty good. Obviously, I mentioned Sean only 6.7 is pretty good considering he was sick. He admitted that he didn't have a great game. I think Twally had a great game. 7.5. He's about a 7.5, I guess. He ran the ball really well. Jackie Simpkins 7.6. They're pretty good numbers as well. I mean, Api 9.3. The one person gave him a 7. I can't remember who, and I don't want to risk my computer freezing again looking it up. But you know who you are who gave Api a 7. That can't believe that. But any numbers stand out to anyone? Let us know in the comments if you're watching live as well.
Nothing. So I think they're all pretty much on the mark, really. Very happy with how Jake played, and like given Wakeham wasn't in the 22-man squad, we had to throw Api in at 7. We literally had no one else we could choose. But given how well Jake played, you'd have to say that Api's probably going to be number 7 this week when the team's named tomorrow.
Well, Emmanuel just in the comments just said Simpkins with HIA might not play. So
okay,
I didn't hear if he passed or failed that one.
Am I able to retract those comments, Josh, or do I have to stand by them?
Well, what do we do? I guess we'll talk about that on Wednesday because they'll announce it 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Interesting.
So
Talon's still suspended. So
one more week for Talon.
Gosh, don't know what they're going to do there. Yeah, they're going to have to bring Wakeham up whether they like it or not.
Did you like the swap with Twally and Clem? I thought it was pretty good having Clem come off the bench.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought Twal had a really, really, really good first stint. Clem provided solid impact off the bench as well. Obviously, meant he didn't get as much game time as he normally would, so he didn't make as much of an impact as he normally would, and that's probably reflected there in his votes. Twal, I did think was really solid, and I have a feeling we might see that for the rest of the year, and they might reassess how that's going to work over in the off season. But I'm just going to say on the votes, I would live and then subsequently die for both Jareen Buller and Api Koroisau. We really need to build the club around those two. Our half of a Fijian spine, plus Sean Blore, plus Alex Twal. Anyone else I should throw in there, Rob?
Definitely what you said about Api and Jareem. Obviously, we love Sean. We want him to be there. I don't know. I mean, the best version of Junior Tupu would be nice. The best version of Fanua Pole would be nice. We need Isaiah Papali'i to be the Parramatta Papali'i. Yeah, Bateman's Bateman. Yes. We've got like we said a few months ago when we had those 3 wins, in the space of 4 or 5 weeks. We've got 11 or 12 good players, but we just need to get those key positions right. And my problem with where we go next year is, will our halves combination be better than what we had this year and last year? And right now, the way I feel about it, the answer is no. So it's up to Benji and the coaching staff to not prove me wrong, but just make those players better and get the best out of the team. But I could live with another poor season as long as I know we're just not going to play musical coaches. I just want Benji to get that support he needs and give him a true chance, because it's not just about getting rid of a coach. It'd be, knifing a legend, and I don't want anything, like they already had rough times with us previously, both Benji and Robbie. So it's just got to be handled properly. We need to show some support. They've come back to the club for the right reasons. We don't need these guys in upper management just, changing their 5-year plans every 9 months. They've got to stick solid with these guys.
Brennan,
what were your thoughts on Kepa Owa's game, Rob? I saw a lot of people on Twitter singing his praises a bit more than normal. I've still got reservations on him. I'm kind of disappointed he had that drop right on halfway after Tupou got him down the sideline, which I thought was a really good.
Yeah, look, I thought in attack, he was mostly diamonds, Aaron. But in defence, his defensive reads it's not that he can't tackle. He just runs up and it's like if someone gets past him, he's got that. To me, I could be wrong, but he's got that demeanour where it's just like, oh well, like I misread it, and that's just not good enough for first grade. He was really good in attack with the ball. The try he scored was some really good footwork, even coming out of our own end, particularly in the second half. He made a couple of really nice, strong runs, and I'm the first guy that said he's not a first grade footballer. You know what I mean? So I got to give credit where credit's due. He ran the ball really strongly, but his biggest weakness that doesn't seem to be getting any better are his defensive reads. Now, I don't know if that falls into David Furner category or Benji category or whoever, but, let's be fair. He's been thrown around into multiple positions as well, both sides of the field. And I don't think the plan was for him to be a centre. It looks like he bulked up and he was ready to move into the forward. So I feel sorry for the bloke. He's a good human being. I'm not denying that, but I've just seen so many bad moments since he came to us from the Roosters that it's very hard for me to get excited about him doing a good game. Like I could never say, oh, let's play him next week because he did so well. Just really glad to see Tristan Riley get a run. I know he took some wrong options, as you pointed out, Josh, where he didn't pass to Noffa and he probably threw one a bit forward in the first half. But he did a lot of things. Did a lot of good things. He did a lot of good things. So if Stafford Toa's back this week if he does come back, at least he's had that taste of first grade because he'll be loving the chance that he got. He was part of a winning team, which will be good for his confidence. But we got to see what he can do. And even if he doesn't get another game this year, we know, like having watched him, that, okay, this is a guy that deserves to be in our top 30. Let's nurture him and let's make him a better player.
NBWT on Twitter was saying that he's normally a left centre. So he was obviously playing on the right. So the passing, I guess that means he passes better right to left as well, which I think is weird with first graders. I think you should be able to pass both ways if you're playing in the NRL. But maybe, put him on the left centre and Star on the right instead.
But I don't buy that, Josh, at all. Like I just don't think that's an excuse for his poor passing. Like let's say you're right, put him at left centre and he makes a break up the left-hand sideline. He's still got to pass it to his fullback backing up on the right. You know what I mean?
He's an NRL player. He should be able to pass both ways.
Yeah, no. Guys. I mean, he saw the try line.
First game was his debut. I thought he was.
Yeah, it's his debut, man. Like that's what I said last week. Good or bad, I just want him to have a go. I want to know what he's made of. Now I've got to see what he's made of. Sure, he didn't have a great game. Like overall, he made a few mistakes and a few bad decisions, but he showed me enough that he can play first grade. He's got a lot of upside.
Right, some of your best comments from the form. So again, keep an eye out for the next two matches. The Google form goes up on our Twitter and our Facebook pages. So drop a comment. Here are some of the best ones from this week. David says, best game I've seen Simpkin play. Api, best halfbacks we have had in years. Also, a lot to improve, but enjoy the win. Long overdue. Michael Roberts said, just done at this stage. I don't think I'll watch any more. Yeah,
that's last week.
I think that's from last week. That's definitely from last week. I hope you did watch this week. Hunter said, Api can have my firstborn. It only took him one game to be better than Brooks in the last 5 years. Noons, Alphanua Pole, fanatic, he said, everyone needs to stop moving Pole to the bench in their best 17s and respect the greatness. Richard said, I'm sorry for yelling bad words when we chose to go for goal in the last 2 minutes. Sorry, Api. I thought Twally had his best game. That was great the first half.
I just on that one, Josh, just on that one.
Yep.
I want to say I actually was thinking in the first half something that I was potentially going to talk about on this episode of the podcast, but the way the game ended with that that penalty goal kind of made it all null and void, and I'm extremely disappointed. Didn't get to go on my rant in the end.
Come on, mate, you got to spit it out now. What were you?
You can spit it out now. Don't leave us
hanging. I was starting to think for a game between, this was in the first half, by the way, there had been no penalty goals at this point, but I was starting to think I really wanted to see both teams throw the ball around a bit more because of the fact that they're both out of contention for the finals. And I was starting to think like, well, Corey Parker's been on Queensland radio this week, suggesting very radical and very silly rule changes for the competition. Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. But I saw that and was like, well, if he's allowed to suggest dumbass rule changes, why can't I? So I was thinking, if there's a game late in the season where there's two teams that are both out of contention for the finals, just don't allow them, like no penalty goals. Just don't.
Penalty goals are banned.
Penalty goals. Yeah, penalty goals are banned basically because you want to see those teams throw the ball around if they've both got nothing to lose. Like, why not?
Or you get eight competition points if you score 6 tries or something. That's what rugby unions still do that.
Aaron, they've done a couple of things in the past where if teams are out of contention for the finals, they've experimented with a couple of potential new rules to see how that's
some of those. Yeah,
in the last decade.
I think they did that with the set restart late 2019 before that was implemented in 2020.
So next week, I want you to have a new rule that we need to trial in our last game for us.
Okay. Interesting. Challenge accepted.
Joseph Alafacci. I wonder if Joe went to Ferragosto, the Italian festival yesterday. I didn't see him down there in 5 Doc, but he said the Tigers did it the hard way, but they got there. Api's the man. The ref tried to screw us as usual, but we still won the game. Actually, I did see someone down at Ferragosto in 5 Doc yesterday wearing a Red Sox cap backwards and a T-shirt with his tattered arms. He walked past me when I was wearing. I think he noticed my West Tigers jersey, none other than the West Tigers CEO. Funny enough. So I hope he enjoyed his pizza and pasta yesterday. Doreen said, I couldn't watch. I had my scarf covering my eyes, and when I looked, it hit the post and went over. I screamed with joy so loud. The poor guy next to me, if he wasn't already deaf, he sure is now. Yeah, like I said, I was sitting in the players' family, and I was, man, I think even when that kick went over, I think even they all really got pretty emotional about it. But I was still nervous because I knew a short kickoff, anything could happen. And when we got that short kickoff after that, that's when I was like, yes, we've done it. So
I straight up thought it was
at that point we just had one set to defend.
I did not think he would get the distance until he struck the ball. I never thought he was kicking the goal. As soon as he struck it and the direction it went in, knowing that it's going to curl, as soon as he hit it, I thought, wow, this is a chance. But when we went for goal, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we got 3 minutes left. We can score a try. We can set up for a game-tying field goal. You know, we might even get a penalty in attack or something like that. But, yeah, I was wrong and they were right, and I'm glad they kicked the goal.
Hand on heart, I swear on my mother's grave, when the penalty was blown, I did 2 fingers in the air straight away.
Really?
I checked the security cameras. If anyone works at Combank, I swear to God, I stood up and did 2 straight in the air.
Because you got to take the hypotenuse, guys, or whatever it works out to. That's got to be over a 40-meter kick. Like, even though it's on the 30-meter line,
30 squared
like over
plus
40 meters. It's a long kick. I don't think you realize how good he struck that ball. It was a really good kick. You'd have to find out the width of the sideline to the middle of the field.
The sideline, yeah. So that squared plus the 30 meters, 30 squared, and then square root that number.
And Benji did make a mistake.
Plus B squared equals C squared.
Benji said the ball came off the upright in the press conference. It came off the crossbar when he was having a bit of a joke with Api.
He's allowed to have one screw up in his first press conference. We'll give him
that's right. We'll forgive. Fair enough. Forgive Benji. Ben Angus, he said, Api Koroisau, what a kick. That was such a relieving win, and we actually showed some good moments, but we also had some bad moments as well. The win was great, but it did mask over those glaring issues in defence that are hopefully fixed up for 2024. Or go back to pre-Gold Coast this year. We offloaded more, looked threatening inside the 20, and the runs from Pole were sensational. Props to Jake Simpkin, who, in my opinion, played his best game in our colours. Buller is a star again. Great. We didn't talk enough about Buller. He was unreal. He was fucking what a player. Sign him up. Great debut for, I think he said O'Reilly. I think he meant Tristan Riley.
Right.
Blore, a workhorse. And extra special so Wayne can drink his tears and have more of a sook. Righto. Patreon.com/WestsLife. If you'd like to support the show, what are the guys dropped in the Discord? What's for us this week? Some happy stuff. What do we got? Joey Lulash said, I was having debates with people about what Twal offers to this team. I just want people to go check his stats today. He's improved every game this season, and he was probably my man of the match today, other than the GOAT, Api, of course. So, more of a statement there. But yeah, any thoughts on Twally as now Rob's internet's... oh, he's back.
No, we all went out at once there, or maybe that was just me.
No, maybe someone's... trying to send a virus to us or something to get us off the air. Any extra thoughts on Twally? What Joey said there?
I think he's really improved his game a lot in recent seasons, as well as having a good solid run. He can now break a tackle. He's got some post contact meters in him. He's also developed an offload, and his offloads are some of the offloads that work the best. We've got a lot of players where they'll kind of just throw it out the back and hope for the best, and that happened a few times. But Twal, he doesn't do it all the time. He works out when he can offload, when he shouldn't offload, and he makes those decisions really well on the run. He scored his try finally, so that's the monkey off the back there, and I think he's enjoying his footy, which I think is probably most important. I'm really happy with Twal's improvements. I mean, not just this season, but last season as well.
Gussie said, so glad to see you back, Bobby Bashara. You deserve this win as much as anybody. You're my Sean Blore. Much love, Joshy and Azza. Let's go, Tiger Humans. So does that mean you got to take your shirt off for Gussie?
Mate, honestly, whenever I'm feeling down and depressed, that beautiful man just sends me these messages that are so Churchillian and inspire me. And he's just a great mate and a great friend. So yeah, I love Gussie. Happy birthday again, mate.
Joey Lulash, guys, a question. Do you think Lee took Brooks's barbecue to Barbecues Galore in his Lambo and got him to pick out, it's a Ferrari, not a Lamborghini, got him to pick out his very own barbecue?
It was a beef eater, wasn't it?
Yeah, beef eater.
I don't know. Does anyone know what's the barbecue? There's got to be a joke or something, an in joke or something.
Okay, so I can answer this one. I don't get why people are getting so fired up about Brooksy getting a barbecue, pun intended.
I thought it was funny.
But basically, his episode of Behind the Raw earlier this year, there was a whole conversation about how much Brooksy loves to cook, and his favorite cuts of steak and all that sort of thing, which is why Josh would have heard in the trivia at halftime. Yeah. There was a question about that, so that's where that one came from. And it's also been mentioned. It's also been mentioned on a few other episodes. I think Twal's episode a week or two later talked about Brooksy and how he enjoys cooking, and like getting lessons from Brooksy and shit like that. So, and I was told on Twitter earlier today that Brooksy actually asked the club for a barbecue. So I don't actually have a problem with it as a gift because he has a young family now. He's got a missus, he's got a kid. And this is something tangible that will benefit his family, like his small family. And I think that matters more than a commemorative jersey or game ball or something along those lines. When as players, they already get so many of those. They probably already have massive jersey collections, game balls from like milestone games and things like that. So I quite like it as a gift. Obviously the club's going to be memed for whatever the club can be memed about, but I didn't have a problem with it.
So when he's laying a few sausages down, he can think of his old bosses in the future, I guess. And Justin says, "Oh, careful! Lee owns a Ferrari. May demand an apology." Okay, that's all that for the Patreon questions for this week before they get us in the trouble. Shane Cole at Benji Marshall tier Patreon. He said, "Tim, I think this. I've been busy. I think this is Shane's.
Yeah, that's last week's.
This is last week. I will open up Shane's. He did send us one today. My computer is
while you're finding it, Josh, I found the width of the footy field. 68 meters. So
So
30 meters
34.
by 34 meters. Yeah, so that's those two edges of
That's
the
black
triangle.
dot. That's black
yeah,
dot.
That's black
So
dot.
get your calculator out, mate. Get
So
your
34
calculator out.
squared, 34
No.
squared plus 30
40
squared,
squared,
and square root that number.
and get the square root of that number. Exactly. Add them up and get the square root.
Okay. That's a problem for later.
Good. I don't think my computer could work that out in a moment. Good win by the boys. Move this stupid pop-up window. 1 second. This is great radio. Okay, now I can see it. Sorry, Shane. So good win by the boys on the weekend. It's brought back a little interest for those last two games. Now let's see if we can avoid the spoon. Still very doubtful though. This week I gave a perfect 10 for the first time this year in our ratings. This honour went to Tim Sheens. He was nowhere to be seen or heard. Keep up the great work, Tim. Vete la mierda, Inglaterra, which means fuck you, England, in Spanish. I agree with that one. Suck shit, England, for losing the soccer last night. Righto, we'll be back Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. to preview the Chookies double header. So please tune in. Thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. Ben asked if we get the women's rating. I forgot to calculate, but there was a 3-2-1 for the women's. I'll calculate those for Wednesday's show. I did not have time to do those calculations. Sorry, girls, but yeah. So we'll do that on Wednesday. I promise. Anything to add, guys, before we say goodnight to Big Dog?
Yeah, just on Api Koroisau, guys, just did a little bit of mental arithmetic. I think you're going to find that goal kick was about 45 meters, if my mental arithmetic is correct. So that's a bloody long kick. And also, given the fact that Api had a calf injury pre-season, just like Luke Brooks, and we've seen what Luke Brooks is going through with his calf, and we've got Api for 3 years, we really need to look after him and nurture him and not put everyone on his shoulders. So I know we're desperate for wins, but we can't be overplaying him and overusing him. So I just hope there's some sort of, management program for the next couple of weeks, because the season's over. The last thing we need is for him to, do his calf before the end of the year and just have to worry about getting it fixed for next year.
Yeah, I'm just typing in the calculator. Anything else, Az?
I've actually done it, Josh. So
okay.
First, I've got three things. First thing, Rob, you were pretty much spot on. 45.34 meters. So
okay.
It was that's the black dot, and you've got to think as well, like it did curve around a bit, so it's probably traveled in the air a bit longer than that. So he could have potentially kicked it and slotted it over the black dot from halfway or very close to it.
Well, let me tell you, if it was 45.3 meters, sorry, 45.37 meters, he wouldn't have made it. It literally got there by an inch. So
yeah,
it was a beautiful conversion. Would have been more dramatic if it happened at full time, but we will take it.
Exactly.
No.
Secondly, massive happy birthday to Gussie for tomorrow, mate.
Happy birthday, Gussie.
Yeah, you give the show massive support, and we appreciate you. So happy birthday! I hope you have a great day. And thirdly, I just want to give a huge shout out to the women's side of the club. I mentioned earlier on Friday, I went to a members event for the NRLW members, which was an open training session, and then signing session with the women's team. I just want to say that the girls as a whole were very welcoming and accommodating. They were very giving of their time, spoke to a lot of us fans. I got to ask a few of them some questions. For example, I learnt what Bo Vetti Welsh's pre-game breakfast is. And I also learnt that in round 3 and round 4, she did not have this pre-game breakfast. So that might be why we lost.
What is the breakfast? What's the breakfast?
What did she call it? She called it mole in a hole. For those who aren't acquainted, potentially. For those who aren't acquainted, it's basically a slice of bread with the middle cut out and an egg cooked in the middle of the slice of bread. I did this when I was a Cub Scout leader for about 7 or so years. We called it Toad in a Hole. So very similar. We had a bit of a funny chat about that. So that's her pre-game breakfast that she did not have in rounds 3 and 4, the games that we lost. She did have it rounds 1 and 2. I do not know how or whether or not she did end up having it on Saturday, but I guess we can assume she didn't. I got to have a chat to Tess as well, found out that her finger, she started contact work. This was also mentioned at the ground at halftime when they had a chat to her. And who else did I have a chat to? I had a chat to Kezi. She was really excited, but a little bit conflicted, I guess, about playing her old club, but she was looking forward to the challenge. She was obviously at the Dragons for the first 5 years of NRLW, and she also said that she was there in their system for 3 years before that. So she had been in the Dragon system for 8 years, and it was a bit different coming up. It was going to be a bit different coming up against her old club. And then after all was said and done with the autographs and everything, they all allowed us out onto the field. We got a massive group photo, all of us members, plus
on
the
their
whole
website,
coaching squad. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And then Kezi informed us all that we were going to join them in a circle, at which point Sarah Togatuki ran us through her pre-game, post-training session Fire the Team Up chant, which was also quite an experience. So the whole thing was a lot of fun. The girls, they're an absolute credit to the club, and I hope for the rest of this season and into next year, good things come for that team. They deserve it. They are incredible bunch of ladies, and I look forward to supporting them for the rest of the season, even after the men's season has concluded.
Man, we keep saving the most interesting things for the end of the episode lately, don't we? Yeah, that's awesome, man. It it wasn't out all the way out to Campbelltown, but that's truly commitment from the NRLW correspondent of the WestsLife podcast. And nice work, as we'll preview the girls and boys game on Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Please join us live then, or listen back afterwards. So yeah, boys, a little gift to part ways as we head off into the nights. And as always, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the WestsLife podcast. Please follow us at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and facebook.com/WestsLifePod. You can also support and take part in the show at patreon.com/WestsLife, and give us a subscribe on YouTube and turn notifications on. We'll see you again next time on another episode of the WestsLife podcast.